1 year ago, I worked on this Frieren inspired hand knit cardigan, and it is one of my absolute favorite pieces that I own, and I wear it all the time. I get so many compliments on it that I, free-handed and designed it. It's one of my top pieces I've ever made. But it wasn't my original idea. My original idea was initially to have a graphic of Frieren on the back of the cardigan. And if you've seen that video, I was going to do it, but I thought it would be too chaotic having a lot of colors going on in the graphic while having this ombre yarn. And it was already getting a bit of a trial to make sure the colors flowed into each other. I had to adjust for that. And then the lace work and all these things that I was also incorporating. So I decided to go with just the title on the back and focus on using the yarn to really bring out those nature colors and the colors from Frieren's eyes for it to be a more I don't know, I like the kind of ethereal look. I liked it. It was kind of pulling in more the ambiance. But the second cardigan, I kept planning on it. I kept working on a graph. I kept looking at yarns and buying them from Hobby until I was pretty ready to start. And so this one's going to be a little more of a classic anime merch style piece, but I had a vision in my mind, and while there are a lot of ups and downs, as you'll see through this video, I'm hoping to show the progress of how I did it. All those I made so many mistakes and had to go back and change so many things. So many little things made a difference in the details. So I'm looking forward to sharing that with you and see what it finally comes out to be, because it changed so much and yet it came close to my original idea. So I'm really happy with it, and I'm really hoping that if you haven't seen the first video, you can go ahead and watch that. But this one's going to be quite a chunky one because I had so many clips, and this took me several months to work on. So yeah, if you like Frieren, if you like anime, or if you like knitting, you will like this. This is sort of my fan art tribute to Frieren Beyond Journey's End in the form of fiber arts. So this is kind of how I like to express my love for things I really fall in love with in a nerdy way, and I hope you enjoy. So I think I have decided, unless I go crazy, that this is going to be the backdrop, and the Frieren image is going to be setting on the back of it. And so yeah, I think I'm pretty ready at this point. This is my Frieren box with all the colors and a few excess colors. This will be kind of the outline, a bit in her eyes, and like where black would be on her outfit. White I'm going to do for both her outfit and hair, even though her hair is more silver. It's just the light gray is a little too light gray, so it should look a little too grandma, and I want her to pop. So this gray is going to be done for like the shadows, and this might be used for like hair streaks within the hair. We have this color for her eyes, her earrings, and brooch. For her outfit, and maybe skin color will be these two. So it's going to be a big endeavor, but I'm going to start casting on the band with this. I've done most of the math. I have kind of an idea of what I'm doing, but I feel like the more I try to really work it out, the more I'm going to put it off. So I'm going to start it. May end up having to redo it as a result, but that is me. So that concludes the intro. All right, so addressing some progress. Here we are with all my little balls and skeins. So basically what we got is the bottom ribbing, which is including the side ribbing. And I tried on a new, what's it called? Cast on, because I've always just done the standard one that I've done ever since I learned it. I'm not sure what it's called, but it always has like a tension to it that I really didn't want this one to have. I want this one to definitely have a nicer ease to it. And so I found, what's it called? Like the cable cast on? Oh, I forget what it's called. But I like because it almost like folds in on itself in a way. It took forever. I took a day and a half to work on just the cast on. The fun of recording this is I'm always jumping in between when the AC kicks on and off. So, as I was saying, I've done the ribbing and I've just started in between while the AC was on. I did an extra row and starting another one. But let's see if I can show you a bit. I kind of don't want to mess up my balls too much. So we kind of have here's going to be Frieren's outfit, the front, and here's the side of her ponytail. And I think that's part of her outfit. So this is going to be her shoulder, her front, and her hair. So yeah, we're working on that. If you can, let's see, I need to make it bigger again. Okay, wait, that's too big. That's good enough. So you see where I will be working up here. So we're just at the very beginning, but I kind of just wanted to check in that I have officially started it. And now that I wanted to at least attach the colors, so I knew that when I come to pick it up now and again, it's like it's really underway. I don't have to do as much math and placement and figuring out everything. Last minute, I filled in a lot of this here because I realized I was using the same color. I was using the dark brown to outline and then using this lighter tone in between, which I really did like, but I realized it's the same color I'm using on her skin and I don't have time, or it would take a long time to get a new skin color. And I didn't want the skin to match the trim. So I'm hoping that looks good. It was a last minute decision and I'm a little scared. But that's where we're at. All right, check-in time and a little bit of a mindset check-in as well. So this is how far we are on the grid. Wait a minute. Let me show you here. So where is it? Oh, so you see that we're at this point in it. So we're still climbing up the bottom, which I'm happy about because I was worried it was going too fast. And it turns out this is not that hard, and I'm really liking the little ball system. I still have to untangle them, but it's nowhere as bad as my old method used to be when I had so many colors going on, so I'm loving this. And I'm not doing like almost any carryovers. I'm loving that. I forget what that's called. Yeah, so this is the full like wrap around. This is in the back. And I meant to note before, so when I was starting this, and initially when I showed you the grid, I was basing the measurements on two samples I had done. I don't know where those went now. I meant to show those earlier. And so one was doubled the yarn and one was without on a 3mm needles. And the doubled looked better and neater, but I was realizing it was very plush. And once it was a full thing, I didn't want a thick garment. I really want this to be something I can functionally use in the climate we have, which just the temperature drops and climbs all the time, but it's never really that cold. It's actually quite kind of rare to have that for that long. So I wanted this to be more useful to me, and that so I wanted it lighter. But the 3mm, we're still making the stitches look wonky, and I so wanted this to look as professional as I can get it. So if you can see here, I bought myself a 2mm, and I'm in love. These are beautiful. Obviously, sometimes the colors section can look a little wonky, but like here, look at that. Especially when it's blocked and it relaxes, it's beautiful. So I had to order 2mm, and that significantly changed the swatch. So I had to go in and redo the entire grid again, and my hand was cramping from trying to make my mouse work at the time, so I hated that whole process. But at this point, I'm very happy with it. And at this point, this is turning out so easy, so enjoyable, and it's turning out a little smaller than I expected, which I think is all right, but it now makes me feel like the rest of it's going to be very bland. So I've kind of stopped at this point because I'm considering doing something on the front, and I need to decide like now because I would want something long. So one option is Frieren's staff with I think it's the milkweed flowers, the blue flowers that Himmel likes, because this is also kind of Himmel-esque, or a silhouette of Frieren and Himmel on either side panel as like walking away, like the back of them. I do like both options. I would be doing a poll, which is a better option that people think, and whichever one I don't go with, I'll reuse for another project. But that's where I'm at, and I'm very happy, and I'm now just taking a break to address patterns that I need to finish. So you might be wondering, what is this? So it is off the needles. Very scary, but unfortunately it became very necessary. So let me see, where did I have it? So I had this. Wait, no. Where did it go? Here we go. So I had this design done. I even had made like a mock-up of it and had an illustrator do the line art for me. Beautiful, right? With the flowers, Himmel's flowers. But unfortunately, where is it? I was realizing, like, let's see. Do I still have it on here? Yes. Let's zoom in. And then bring it over here. Okay, see this? I thought it looked fine. Looks fine. But when it's worked up, it does not look like a flower. So I was realizing that, and so I needed to do a swatch. And so this is what we got. Obviously it's a little scrunched up, but regardless, that's not a flower. So this whole thing, more or less, is not going to work. As beautiful as she is. So what I did was I edited out all the flowers. I'm left with this. Not sure I love it, but at this point, I really don't want the front to be blank. My other option was to do a little chibi Frieren, which may still be an option. I'm considering it, but for now, I'm thinking this. And I'm going to make this all just be blue. So I didn't get too far. I'm already frogging. This I took the color stitches out. Here we have a few of it started, so I'm just carefully taking it out, and then I'll put it back on the needles, and then we'll see from there. But oh my goodness, I waited so long to have that graphic done so I could finally start this again. I was having a good time, and now this, and I'm just not in the mood. But anyway, with an update, you can see we've gotten a fair amount of work done. So we are about in the almost the middle of the grid itself. Had some run-ins. I think the last time I updated you, I was deciding what to do for the front panels. I really decided I needed not to do anything with it, not decide anything yet, and I just wanted to work on this. I just really needed that for my headspace, and so I did that. And I have some options of what I might just put along like the collar, like the collar at kind of the upper bust area. I may do something there, or I may not. For now, I'm working just on the Frieren and deciding several points on this. I've been nervous that it's going to be too scrunched up, or it's looking too graphic, like the shadow here, that's the gray. I don't know if I like it, but overall I think it's looking okay. I'm finally hitting the point. I just worked in her chin and we're reaching the first earring. So I'm excited. I really want to get up to her mouth. I want to really see her face form, because for a while I just really didn't know exactly how proportionally this was going to look until I got the shoulder in. So very excited about that. Let's see if I can show you a little more clearly. I'm still working in this row. So if you can kind of see that, we got her whole bust area. So we're working into the head and the hair. So that's all good. And so that's just kind of the update for now. I kind of got quite a bit of work done, but at the same time, it's not too much. I kind of wanted to at least reach the face before I did an update I am a little nervous about the skin tone, but that's just another thing that we're going to have to wait and see. Okay, breaking news. Let me get this off. I need to undo several rows at this point, unfortunately. So the skin color, I'm not sure how well it's going to pick up on this, is looking too tan for her, especially in contrast to her very white, which her skin tone actually isn't that far off from this. It's kind of an ivory, but I didn't want to go ivory. I felt like that would look a little too odd. So, and I didn't want to order the Hobie yarn again. Well, I did, but it takes forever to get from Denmark, and I don't want to wait that long. So I ordered this off of Amazon. It's the right weight, though I think more ply or something. It's denser, but I think it'll work. So there you can see the color is kind of a peachish color. I can't see where the name on it is. Yeah, it just has a number. So I'm going to leave this be. I'm going to use this color like for shadows, like in her ears. But I have to undo this, and I'm nervous because I'm going to try just take out this section. But I'm nervous how that's going to work for the other color work. So we'll see how that goes. At this point of the process, I was getting the hang of the color work, despite that about every 2 rows I would need to detangle all the little yarn balls and everything because I simply could not keep them unraveled. I've seen some methods to like keep them into like little slots or little boxes or something, but I don't understand how that doesn't still lead to the yarns getting crossed. At least how I tend to secure my yarns, it just adds almost extra knots somehow. So with this having so many colors, it definitely was a challenge, and I would get through, 3 to 5 rows, maybe a day at times. It was definitely a slow process, but I found it very fun, and just seeing the graph grow and grow was really fun to do. And this was kind of very much my personal project when I could give myself time just for me, that I didn't need to do orders, I didn't need to do school, I didn't need to be doing something else. I was working on this cardigan, and it was overall just, yeah, I do enjoy color work. And so while this one was kind of a frustrating one, I won't say that I didn't enjoy it still. It kind of had, yeah, it had its difficulties to it, but I don't think I ever really grew frustrated with the process and wishing I wasn't doing it. I do really encourage, I think young people right now are really getting into color work and Tarsh in particular. Um, and you'll see later how I also really fall in love with duplicate stitching, which I didn't expect to, because it's even slower, I think. So when you're doing masses of blocks of color like this, Intarsia is more the way to go. And I think there's another method. But I later really fell in love with duplicate stitching and hope to utilize it more in the future. But yeah, I have some tutorials if you are interested in figuring out color work. I think both in crochet and knit. I think I have some tutorials on that, either out or coming soon. So you can check those out if you are curious and want to try to utilize in your own designs or following patterns. Okay, I'm going to do a quick update since I'm doing a lot of updates right now in general. So here we are. Let's see if I can get that. Oh, something's pulling on it. Let's see. I think that just turned out worse. So hopefully you can. Whoa! Stitches came off. Not good, not good. Okay, give me a minute. Okay, we're back. I fixed that. I definitely don't want that to come undone again. So here we are. We've kind of, you can't tell too much, but I have done her mouth in gray. We will see. I decided to go with gray, just, it's okay. So we did settle very well that this is a better skin tone. I think I could have even gone with ivory for how pale she really is. But I kind of didn't want to risk it, and I think this is fair enough. The other color was looking too much like Luffy or another tan character, so that was definitely not going to work. I am using it for some shadow, though it's kind of subtle, which I guess is a good thing. And I realized I'm going to have to duplicate some more blue here to extend kind of her almost, oh, what's it called when the neckline goes up? Turtleneck. But anyway, that's something to do for later. And I also had her, we went from having her face outlined with this brownish color, this kind of cognac color, or copper or something. And again, since my mom and I talked about it, and I got her, she doesn't know who Frieren is, doesn't know anything, and so she was just going off of the image, saying how everything should help cool her down. And so go with grays, or if you want contrast, to go with the blue. So initially I did try gray because I was worried the blue is very stark. It's just very outlined and bold. So I tried that, but then you couldn't see it at all, which that again could work where her face is almost just regularly contrasted just with the blue of the background. But I did want an outline, so I duplicated over it and then started working up in the navy, which I think is fine. So potentially if I want to darken this, I can either go in with the darker gray or the navy. So I just kind of wanted a lighter one in place, so if I want to go darker, I can duplicate over it without that looking too odd. So we just got past her nose. We are crawling up her earring, and I'm about to hit her hair. So things are going to get a lot more color changing soon. But so I expect this part of the face worked up pretty quickly, but I'm expecting, since there's going to be a lot of color changing, that it's going to slow down. I also need to decide exactly. I think I have to outline her ear with the dark blue, so I've kind of been going back and editing it a bit. But yeah, that is the update for now. I think that's a fair enough update. Just let you know where I'm at, and I think maybe by the time we reach her eyes, I'll check in again. And yeah, I mentioned in a other clip I did for Instagram and TikTok that at this point I'm less overly invested in the final outcome of this as I was in the beginning of this process, and more just wanting it to I want to actually work on it. I want it to be part of the process, and the end result can be subpar to my original vision. I put so much thought that this really because it is a lot of work. I mean, how much of this is actually, a cardigan's worth? And I wanted it to be a long cardigan, so we'll really have to see. And since she's getting scrunched up, I'm wondering if it'll even pan out, because it looks like her face is going to be squished in, so it may not even work out. But I kind of have to see it through, at least to see if her face looks okay. And if it does, then we're going to call it good. But yeah, at this point, I'm not too worried about the rest of it, and since she's turning out quite big in the back in the end, I keep forgetting anime heads are so big. So yeah, that's where I'm at. Kind of mixed emotions. I had to do so much back and forth. I frogged the face so many times, I should also add. But yeah, kind of mixed feelings right now at it. Hopefully when I check in later, I will be at a joyous point in it. Let's hope. Okay, another check-in time. So we've gotten quite far. I kept thinking, oh, I should check in, but I was panicking the whole time about how scrunchy her eyes were looking. And so I really wanted to solidify to myself that I had that. Plus, it was always late by the time I was working on her mostly in the evenings, and I work on other projects during the day. So it was also just very dark for the camera. So you see here, she's a little wonky. For one, the tension is pulling at her eyes, and as well as I decided to bring in the blue from here. This will also, okay, I stitched the mouth just to see, and I will also duplicate over the nose, so she will have a nose that you can see. But the eyes aren't bad. They are fixable. I will probably go over and duplicate, particularly the white, and I think I'm going to add some extra color to her eyes. And just really make them as pretty as possible. Maybe distinguish her lashes a little more. I don't know. The shadow of Over her eyes, I'm using this yarn. You barely see it. It doesn't make a difference. But overall, she is fine. She's ever so slightly more squished than I think she was meant to be from the beginning, but this also might relax with blocking. And I'm noticing more and more, like, as I keep breaking it up, the little differences in the stitching is now becoming apparent. But I think a lot of it will relax and even out once I block it. So at this point, I'm very comfortable with this piece. What's going on here? Oh, see, I don't like that this row has looser stitches. So just things that bother me. But so we have almost half of the back, I want to say. I'm noticing this is the side seam, right? So her face is getting dangerously close to it, while the side with her ear is okay. So I kind of stopped decreasing for a bit until I can start to curve in this way. But so with that in mind, I figured, okay, I do need this to be lower on the back, so it's not going to be pulling around my armpits and making her face weird. So I think this will be fine. So at this point, we just kind of have a long road ahead to actually build up the rest of the body. But yeah, that's basically all that I have to report. Everything's looking good. Her ear is okay. I think I'll feel better once I see the top of it. Right now it's looking very narrow. But everything else I think I can salvage. I'll salvage her face a little bit later. In the end, I'll kind of tidy it up with some duplicate stitching to shape it the way it needs to be. But even as is, this is passable. Not the prettiest, but passable. And it doesn't really look like her eyes, but the rest of it informs you. But her eyes are so iconic that I do need to go in. Problem a bit that I had was that while the green is perfect, I may need a black for her eyelashes, because the navy blends too much to the like jade color. But would black do the same thing basically? Would it be that much of a difference? I don't know. So we'll see. For now, this is where we're at, and I will check in later. This is later in the day than I intended on updating, so the lighting may not be great, but wow. So we finally cast it off. If you can see, above the hairline is the first row of, I don't think you can see it, of the main color. So this is officially all, well, not officially done, but officially I've done the bulk of this work, and we're just going to be working up blue from here. You can see I have it laid out on the template cardigan I'm using. It seems this one is going to be a bit smaller unless this blocking stretches it out a bit. And I do expect the blocking to relax the stitches. So we will do basically some edits on her face, like we've talked about before. So I'm going to duplicate stitch over the nose, maybe over sort of eyelid creases. Maybe I'll go darker on the outline for the inner ear, and then some edits to her eyes. They're kind of okay, but I think need to fix it up a little bit because it's really pulling and misshaping her eyes. I also want to steam it. And then secondly, I want to show you the back. So the scary part. So it's actually kind of cool. It's not too bad. So we got all these kind of ends where they finally got left off. So I'm going to need to make sure they're well woven in and then cut off. But yeah, it's the ones coming out of her eyes are really creepy. But you can see all here. Lastly, knock it off. But yeah, I'm really like, I kind of got over the excitement. I was dancing around the room this morning when I finished it, and since then I've been doing other stuff, and so my energy, I'm more tired. But yeah, that is update. We finally have the full color work finished, and it's so cool. Now I just have this one ball instead of all the little balls, so I can take this anywhere with me now. Okay, you guys, we just finished officially connected the panels. I'm so excited. This keeps curling on itself, but gives you a little idea for the front, and we can still decide if we're going to add any details here. I might still do like in the navy something vine like with leaves. Here comes a cat. But Here's the big reveal. So here she is. It actually is thinner, leaner than I anticipated based on the one I based it off of. Her head is really moved over to the side, which I kind of expected that from the grid, but it is still a little bit much. I was hoping there would be more space, but I underestimated it, or I did something wrong math-wise, unless the steaming really helps it. But so here we are, a few notes to make. I think I'm going to make this come out a little bit more if I can duplicate it decently. The cats are having a time. And of course, I still need to go in and fix her face. I'm going to outline some of the grays with the navy instead. Hello, kitty. Everyone's being so cute. But oh my gosh, it's officially together. This took so long, so I'm super excited. Oh my goodness, let's see you. Hey, you want to be in it? Kitty, kitty. Hi. Hi. So cute. But anyways, I just wanted to get a clip of this progress. I am figuring out how to work, since I worked the trim up along with it. You can see have managed to bring it along to the back, so I'm going to bring it around here, bring this one also around, and then probably connect them back here. Not too worried about that now that I kind of figured that out, and I need to decide if I'm doing the sleeves directly off or if I'm going to work them separate. I'm still deciding. Okay, I wasn't home for about 2 weeks, so I've gotten very little done in that time. So we've seen, oh my goodness, this already. So the only thing I did work the trim, and where do I have it? Here. For the life of me, and it's so frustrating because it's just a few stitches, I can't figure out how to line these up seamlessly when I'm joining them. So I'm still gonna work on that. I worked on that for like 2 hours and almost got it, but it was still off. So that's to be done later. And what I'm now doing is, I was able to do a bit of this over the 2 weeks, was start the sleeve. So I decided to do a closed cuff sleeve. So I'm kind of hoping this will work out. I'm a little nervous with it because it was just really hard to tell quite how many stitches I should have, even with, of course, checking my math and everything. But I decided I would give it a little more room so I could wear stuff under it, so not too tight against me, the way I generally like it to be. And I'm working both sleeves at the same time on the same needles that I use for the body or the entire cardigan. So we are a little over 100 stitches in the stockinette. We have the ribbing down here. So far it's looking good, and this is the first time I'm working 2 sleeves at the same time. Usually I build them off of the body. But I've been wanting to do this for a while, and I couldn't quite work it out in the round. I was kind of overthinking it a bit and figured, okay, it's fine. I'll work them flat, which is not my preferred, but it's working fine. So this way I don't have to keep track of making sure the second one matches up the alignment, and there's always the whole thing about being in sleeve island I hear about. I generally don't mind. But I did want to try this technique because it also provides better consistency. You can see, though, where I was losing it, just kind of rushing the job a few places. Hopefully, I can make them relax and they won't stand out as much. But overall, this is where I'm at. So I'm about maybe a third of the sleeve, a little over, not quite half, but pretty good. So we're going to move along, and then finish the sleeve, and then we'll need some duplicate stitching if I don't turn out lazy and make it a very plain cardigan. Okay, things were I guess necessarily, but sadly, tied up for like 2 or more weeks because I had to order, let's not show anything. I had to order more of the blue yarn, and I definitely ordered, I ordered 3 skeins to make sure I didn't run out, and just because I'm sure I can use it in future cardigans as well. And then over Black Friday, I got ahead of myself and I went ahead and ordered the yarn for the Fern cardigan. So if you want to see Fern's cardigan, stay tuned. and let me know if that interests you, and let me know what other anime you would want to see a cardigan of. I have plans for a Pooh Bear one and an Apothecary Diaries one. I know Pooh was an anime, but I just a note. So this is how far I am on the sleeves. I don't know where they were at the last. This might be exactly where they were at the last point with a few extra rows. I've connected one of the balls. I'm going to connect the other balls, skein, whatever, to it. Hopefully we'll finish it, attach. I haven't really done anything to this piece. I still need to do in her ends. I still need to duplicate stitch, and I still need to edit a bit of her face. I keep saying edit, but you know, fix up her face a little bit, and I haven't attached. I have not had the heart to attach this. I haven't had so many patterns I've been trying to work on and I feel behind on, all imposed deadlines, but nonetheless, that's what I've been dealing with. And on top of that, I have school. I had a book project that really needed to get done, and I have my own book project that I started, so way too much going on. Anyway, I wanted to update that I have new yarn to hopefully finish this project. So I got sick and I decided, oh, I'll finish up the sleeves for the Frieren cardigan, right? So I kind of had her here. I was going to be testing it, and then look what I see. Look what I see in this good lighting that I have today. Can you see it? There's a line right here. And so I panic. I was so sure this was the right yarn. It looked right on the site. It had actually gone out of stock, so I thought I was going to have to wait weeks or months for it to get back in stock. It thankfully got back in stock. I was able to order it, and it came sooner than expected, so I'm all happy, right? And then I'm just knitting along. This is kind of like 2 days worth of work between the two sleeves. And, you know, I was also working on other things, to be fair. And so I'm sick. I am not feeling well, and this just made me want to cry. And I thought, this is probably a different dye lot, right? I don't have the old labels to check it against. So I also was basing that this looked right on it looked exactly right on the computer, on their pictures. It was the lightest, kind of had a dusty look to it, the light blue Twister Solid. But seeing it in person and checking the website again, this actually has a little more vibrancy than that picture, and actually looks more like their dusty blue, which is oddly more vibrant than their light blue in the solid wheel. So I was about to email them saying, I think you may have mislabeled this, and you know, show them the pictures and everything, just give them feedback, and maybe they would allow me, I don't know, swap the yarn, or I would order the other yarn, whatever I had to do. But then I found my old order, because for some reason I hadn't logged into my hobby account when I ordered it, so I wasn't seeing it on the account. Found the original blue yarn order I made in summer, and it was in fact not Twister Solid, but the Friends wheel. Not only that, it was Arctic Blue, which on the website doesn't look like this. Now I know things look different on the website and everything, but it would, if I was trying to match this without having the label, there's no way I would have picked that color, because it's so much more icy looking, and it's called Arctic Blue. So I may have found the solution I need to make sure I get the right yarn, but this is just an upsetting set of circumstances. And I am sick, and I want to cry. And now I just I did get yarn in for my fern cardigan, and I was so tempted to start that, but I kind of want to use it to give an example for how to use these charts that I'm going to offer. So I need to make a video, and I do not feel well enough to make a video right now, so that's going to have to hold. And I have to work on something that I don't care to work on as much. Oh, woe is me, right? The problems of my generation, my circumstances, very, very little indeed. But there we are. And I guess I'll check in with you when I get the yarn.
Okay, you guys, I am so hoping this is finally, we're coming to the end of this. These sleeves I've redone a few times, and for some reason I get so stuck, and I finally understand Sleeve Island. I never understood it before. I always enjoyed sleeves. But I think part of it is because I'm so nervous that I'm not going to like these sleeves. I've never done very close sleeves, and I did give them extra room. I realized I had to frog half of it back because I didn't expand it out for the upper arm. So it is also a little odd where it just kind of starts to increase past the elbow. And I know there's some sleeves like that, but I'm not sure that's a sleeve I particularly like. So I am looking at potentially when I have been emotionally removed from this project for a while, I may come back and redo this. But I've been working with the correct yarn, thankfully. But I've had to redo it a few times, and I realized I need to do the armhole shaping and just kind of freehanding that with the big increases. It's been a lot of trial and error and going back and forth and thinking, oh, it's not decreasing fast enough, and then I realized, oh no, actually that decreased quite a bit, and not doing too much foreplanning and just kind of thinking. Anyway, I'm just so ready to be done, and I was so hoping this was all going to be done. Frieren is just a couple. The next season is just a couple days away, but at best, I just want the sleeves on. I'm going to add some embroidery, and I had a cool idea, which I'll hopefully remember to talk about later, but it doesn't make sense right now to talk about. So, what I did want to talk about is something I'm attempting, and maybe it's stupid, because I don't know how to do this. So again, this has been completely trial and error. Let me see if I can show it on this sleeve. So, since I have on the sides of the cardigan, if you recall, I have this twisted band for the sides of it. I thought it would be nice to pull that detail into where the sleeve joins. And so as I've been working on the set in sleeve part, so as I've been working on like where going with the shoulder, it's very pretty. It is there. And so at this point, I think I'm finally at the point I'm casting off the top of this. So let's see, what can I show it on this one? Uh-oh, dropped some stitches. So no, more experienced knitters are going to be probably, let me know your thoughts on watching me struggle here. So I'm casting off the top, so that would be bare, and I don't want that. So I'm going to be picking up and adding this along the top of it. I've already tested it out last night. It worked pretty well. I'm going to add a few extras because it was a little tight. But other than that, that should work out okay. And I'm just hoping that will look good and that does work. And I don't know if it's a thing. I know I've seen pretty details before, but I don't know if that's like when you're doing maybe in the round, like a raglan or top down, you're able to do that because of the increases. As you make the body out, you can add in the pretty details. I don't know. But let me know if you've ever done this technique before, or if this is just something that you can already tell is not going to work out, which would be so sad because I would have to go back and redo this, which it's crazy how long this has taken me, just the little set in sleeve shoulder part. Part of it is because my mind has not been able to stay very focused and on track. I'm back in school. I have been working on my crochet picture book. I've been illustrating. I've been making lots of videos. So I've been editing. I've been making thumbnails. I constantly am jumping around to other tasks and then realizing, oh wait, I was knitting. Thinking, oh yeah, I'll knit while I work on something. So it's been a deal. This clip is way too long. I'm going to finish these up, wish me luck, and we'll see if this works out.
I realized I needed to get this clip in before I finished, so it was looking good. I did end up being able to go ahead with Frieren's staff, but unfortunately, I had made the graph too large. I had hoping to enlarge it because I was so worried about it just sitting too low here, and that seemed odd in the grand scheme of things. I have attached the sleeves, and I kind of steamed them. There was kind of an issue there where they were bunching up a little bit, and there's a little gather at towards the pit. But once it was steamed, I'm like, that's livable for now. Later, I might redo them. But anyway, so it actually looks like a cardigan now. So we're doing duplicate stitching here, but I started working back here and taking out the stitches. It had gotten quite far down. And I realized, oh, it's not long enough. So unfortunately, I had to redo that. But I went back to my original graph before I had enlarged it. And so here is just the stick part, and then what's it called? You know, the orb part with the circle will go there. And so I just kind of wanted to test it out with starting to do my. This is beautiful. I'm so excited about this. This is looking so um, like cathedral-esque. I don't know, beautiful. And then what I was thinking, so it doesn't kind of just have simply these sitting here. Maybe if this looks pretty enough to leave it as is, I might. Another option I'm going to do is take one of these elements, make a graph of it, and just kind of finish something uh, pretty here on more go riding up along the chest to pull that in. That's a possibility, but we'll do that later. And one more option that I might have that might be a later thing. If you remember, I wanted to do flowers, Himmel's flowers, but they weren't looking like flowers. What I've considered is I've been really loving the what's it called, like yarn embroidery pieces, and I was like, oh, that would be a beautiful textural thing to add the flowers as embroidery. So that is something I'm considering probably for the future. I think I will call it good for the video if I can. And Frieren season 2 releases tomorrow, airs tomorrow. So I at least do have the sleeves together, and I had to redo them 2 more times off screen. But so we are actually getting there, and I'm finally starting to calm down, especially after I saw this. I was like, okay, yes, I'm going to be happy with this cardigan in the end. So right now I'm just taking these out, but I figured, oh, this was part of the stage, and this was just something I was like, oh, let me figure this out first before, something about the recording sometimes. I have so many clips at this point that it's going to be super long. But to let you know that this was a trial and error process. Okay, till the next clip. So here you can see me working on the duplicate stitching. I did also like a speed, I think I'll share some of those clips in here. I also do duplicate stitching on the back to add Frieren's name on the back because I didn't know if I was going to add anything there. But I did decide there was way too much space. But I really enjoyed the duplicate stitching. This is something I've only picked up recently. I'd seen others do it. I remember watching some tutorials from what's her name? Made in the Moment. She goes by Aspen now. Right? Yeah, I think that's right. And but I didn't really do it much myself other than just to go over to fix errors. And I found after learning from a previous project exactly where the needle needs to go in every time so you don't have gaps. I still have a few gaps here and there. But overall, it turned out really clean and I'm really proud of it. And it was just so therapeutic to slowly work on it. And I really enjoy it. I'm definitely going to be looking for opportunities to utilize it in future projects. I'm thinking on my fern cardigan, I'm going to do it for the butterflies. And still probably have to do Intarsia for Fern herself because that's just a lot of color. Because it does take a long time to work it up. But when it's something like this in particular, where it has more design and you're kind of like weaving your way through the fabric instead of just doing a block of color, there's something really fun about that, about just kind of, it's almost like drawing. It's so fun. I really do encourage you, like, just make yourself a swatch and duplicate yourself a little picture on it to get a feel. And I don't know if I can guarantee, but I do hope you enjoy it nearly as much as I've enjoyed this process. So here, like at this example where I started working off into these little spirals, and I did run into a problem where I found out I had added a row or two extra on the staff. So my placements weren't lining up with the grid when I was adding these in, but it was so easy to adjust for that just by making, okay, then I'm making the swirl go a little higher. It was so fun. I just um it's a new discovery for me, so it's still fresh for me to be enjoying it. But yeah, I do encourage you to try it out if you're interested in
trying out some new techniques.
And we are finished! Okay, I am so happy with it. Despite it being simple in some aspects, the fact that I had to kind of engineer the whole thing throughout the process really did make it just take months of time. I can't emphasize that enough. But I am so happy with it. And if you want to use any of the grids here, I'm going to, I think, upload all of them for free on my Ravelry just for you to use and apply to your projects in the size that I use them at. But yeah, if you're interested in that, just check out, I'll link that down below. I appreciate you watching this far.